Hey everybody, you got your old pal Jack Photon here. Today we're going to talk about Grenadier Models and their Wizard's Gold giveaway. Grenadier was in the business of making little tabletop miniatures since the 1970s. And then 1980, 81, 82, and 83, they ran this Wizard's Gold giveaway. They announced the contest in 1980 and the first prize was given away in 1981. And then 1982 for the second annual, and 1983 for the third annual. Now, for those first 2 years, what they did was they gave away 1 ounce of gold each year. So that 1 ounce of gold was split 2 ways between the buyer of the box and the shop that sold it. That's a ½ ounce of gold each. In the third year, they switched to 3 gift certificates to the first 3 names drawn out of a hat, essentially. All the research I've done so far has not turned up a 4th year, and if you take a look over at the Wikipedia page, you'll pretty much see what I've got written here. So like I said, for 1981, 82, and 83, Grenadier placed 1 out of an unknown amount of gold-plated figures into an unknown amount of boxes. And you got yourself a mail entry form if you did get the gold piece, and a discount coupon for some other purchases. So there were 13 gold-lined sets total, premiering with number 2001 called Wizards, and that was a set of 9 wizards and illusionists. In this case, in that photo to the left there announcing the contest, that's the wizard from set 2009, the Wizard's Room. And that's the only figure in that set. The rest of it is all like a little bookcase and jars and stuff like that. I think there's some kind of smoke monster too. You can get on your internet and search the images for Gold Lion Grenadier sets number 2001 through 2013, and you'll find a lot of good pictures and information. So the ad here suggests that it's in the first year it was this wizard alone that was gold-plated. So in the third year, the gold-plated figures were not in the gold line, and that could be why they switched to gift certificates. The price of gold had dropped from 1980 to 1981, and then it kind of fluctuated, but the price of an ounce of gold was still about the value of those 3 gift certificates, $350 total. So in between that first year of set 2009 and that third year when it wasn't the gold line at all, they must have expanded to sets number 2010, 11, 12, and 13. So if you go over to Grenadier's Wikipedia page, there's a citationless mention of additional gold figures beyond the wizard and the next 2 that I'll mention in a second. So old Jack Photon knows as a personal fact that those additional gold figures do exist, and the reason you're probably here is to see the proof. But let's talk about that Wikipedia page a second more. So they make mention of this Grenadier bulletin. It's undated, but all the text suggests that it was written in mid to late 1982. So this Wizard's Gold contest announcement is from page 4 of this bulletin. So this first paragraph here basically congratulates the winner for the 2nd annual Wizard Gold competition. And that was Victor Taylor and Enterprise Hobbies over in Orlando, Florida. Each of them got a ½ ounce of gold. So now here in 1982, they're talking about the next contest in 1983, and the 3rd paragraph says that'll be drawn on December 3rd, 1983. So scrolling back up here to the 2nd paragraph, you can clearly see that the Dragons of the Emerald Idol and Skeleton Raiders of the Unknown are the 2 kits they were going to do for 1983's contest. And while they're drawing at the Complete Strategist in New York on December 3rd for the 3rd contest, in the very first contest they say they're going to do it at Gen Con 1981, so that would have been August 20th or so of that year. So if for the 2nd year they did the contest at Gen Con as well, then that bulletin would have been written in the late summer or fall of 1982. Alright. So here's a couple last pictures. This is the front of Orc's Lair set number 2011. And here's a look at the back. As I was reviewing the final edit, I did some last second research and I wound up finding miniatures-workshop.com. And over on this website here, lo and behold, Gold Wizard and the Gold Orc. So it looks like the box sets of 2010, 12, and 13 did not have gold figures. It was just the Gold Orc Shaman and the Wizard from box set 2009. So let's take a closer look at a couple of the pictures here. And there you go, that's what this would have looked like when you opened the box back in 1981. I also came across a forum that suggests that there weren't just dozens or 100 or 200 of these things made. There is on the order of 1,000, if not 2,000 gold orcs plated. If it was 1,000, that would equate to about 20 on average per U.S. state, and I don't imagine a state like Alaska got a full 20 of them. But you never know. And here's a look at the coupon. So that clearly says Gen Con 15, which would have been an August drawing for this contest. And I keep calling it a contest, but they called it a giveaway, and I suspect that was on purpose. If they called it a contest, they would have had to have disclosed odds of winning. By calling it a giveaway, they could probably skirt that. So after all these years, my brother's Gold Orc Shaman no longer has the box. My brother may still have some of the original orcs. There's no way for me to know, but here's what a Gold Orc Shaman looks like, I can tell you that much. So being 1981 or so, this is going to be exactly 40 years old right now, being that it's 2021 when I'm recording this video. And you can see in that time he's taken more than a few hit points of damage. So it's not actually me that bought this box set, but I was there when my brother picked it up off the shelf at the bookstore that was down the street from our grammar school. Then sometime over the years I probably wound up trading him for something or who knows what, but eventually it wound up being in my possession. There were a few years I carried it loose with other figures in a leather dice bag kind of style. Then back around the year 2000 when I went into cryo freeze, I put this little guy in my regular dice bag with all the other dice. So there's going to be a few years where this guy was living in a dice bag getting kicked around by dice, and that explains all the damage. He would have been relatively safe for the past 20 years because the dice bag was all in storage and not moving or anything. However, now that I'm out of cryo freeze, taking him out as well, he's been out in the air for about a year now, safe on a shelf. So even though this guy is about 1 inch tall, he's really what's known in the scale model community as a 3-footer. That means you can look at him from 3 feet away and he looks great. But when you get up real close, you start to see some of the flaws. So there's a couple concerns that I've got seeing him up close like this, and one is that he might need a cure disease spell, in addition to a cure serious as well while he's at it. But right around his collarbone, you'll see there's 2 little green spots. Now this is gold, so it shouldn't be changing color, and this guy was never painted at all. Those little bits of green could be scraps of dice, for example, that got wound up into them, but I really don't know. Now, seeing this guy spinning here, it's easy for me to reimagine pulling him straight out of the box as my brother and I did all those decades ago. Pure shiny gold all over the place, and I'd certainly love to get this little guy gold-plated again. Whether that would mean stripping off the current gold, whether it would mean actually damaging this one, I don't know that it would be worth it, but it certainly would look beautiful. But at the very least here, you can see what the Gold Orc Shaman looks like. So I learned just a couple days before doing this video from a guy called the Dungeon Delver here on YouTube that miniatures from this era are susceptible to a certain kind of rot. And that rot, it manifests itself as kind of a powder. So if you take a look at that skull in the orc's hand right there, you'll see that the side of it is kind of whitish looking, and that goes down to the jaw. So there's a chance that that white there is that rot that the Dungeon Delver was talking about. What the green is, I just can't imagine. So I'll let this guy spin for a while, and thank you for watching. So live long, and may the force prosper with you.